Before we dive in, just a quick little love note from us. If this podcast has ever made you laugh, cry, think, or feel seen, please hit that subscribe button. It's the easiest way to keep the magic going, and it helps us land more incredible guests for you. Go on, back your girls, subscribe now, and let's keep rising together. Welcome back to the Inner Sanctum. Salon Rising, the podcast, is not normally my voice that is heard at that beginning point, but you just have me today. Our girl Jen is hands deep in some basin work after coming home from Hair Festival, which we will catch up on in another pod because I'd love to debrief that. But I am joined by an extremely dear friend. We are Zooming this up today because she is in Victoria. I'm joined by my very dear friend, Ashlin, from the Elk Collective.
Yep, that's right.
Yes. Oh, formerly known as Aspire Boutique. So has been in business a very long time, and we have worked together for a very long time. But welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome. I'm so excited to have you on the pod. And it was, when Richard said to me, who do you want on? I was driving home and I was thinking about the day we met in the salon, because I had a Thursday the other day where 3 of my staff were off and it was hectic. And all I kept thinking about was that day that you came in and shadowed me a million years ago. And 3 of my staff were off and I was just like, I'm sorry, you just have to deal with the craziest salon ever.
Yeah, but that's good to actually see the reality of someone else's salon and that it doesn't just happen to your own. So it made the experience even better.
All right, I want to go into your journey first because I obviously know it. And I think your story is so powerful because I think a lot of people are sitting in transition at the moment of where they want to go in their business or what they want it to feel like. And I would love to know your journey. So let's start at the beginning and then we can kind of talk into the different areas and how you've gotten to where you are now and how you're feeling and all of those things. So tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. So once I obviously qualified from my apprenticeship, I actually started working from this tiny little space that my parents built at their house. And it was just me. I was crazy and would work like 72-hour weeks to build myself up. And I built the most amazing loyal clientele. So I was working full time on my own. And I mean, it was a shoebox. It was so tiny, but it obviously built an amazing clientele. And I was there for probably 2.5 years. I grew that much. I ended up putting on an apprentice. And I think mum and dad were getting over the amount of cars coming in and all these random people rocking up to their house and decided they wanted to purchase an investment property in town. So I went through it with them one day and I was like, oh my God, this will make the best salon. I think that was their idea they always had, was to get me out of the home and put me in a business.
Were you still living at home then as well?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. But I think they just needed me to walk in and get this, my creative juices flowing and design something in my head before they'd even said, yep, you can go in there. So I opened up a salon. It was called Aspire Boutique and it was just myself. And then I hired 2 other girls, another apprentice and a qualified. So the 4 of us worked for quite a few years. It was extremely busy. I was still at that stage working 6 days a week, 12, 14-hour days just to build it up. And I obviously was very burnt out and got to the point where I thought, I can't keep doing this. I need to hire more people. It got to the point where I had 10 staff and I used to always look at salons and be like, oh, the biggest is always the best and, oh, it will be amazing. And 3 years, I had these massive teams and I thought, oh yeah, this is what you've always dreamed of. Don't complain, just keep going. And one day I had a staff member that left and was very, very, very nasty about it. And it kind of I felt like I just got stabbed in the back and I was like, what am I doing? I'm not actually enjoying this. The biggest isn't always the best. I'm either at the point where I want to completely give up hairdressing or I've got to completely change my whole direction. So I guess I actually reached out to you again and I started coaching with you and I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm absolutely hating work now. Honestly, work felt like it was a production line. And I feel like clients felt that as well. It was like I was foiling, someone else was toning and blow waving. And it was just like in, out, because we had this huge clientele. And I felt like I really lost what the purpose was. Like the clients weren't even getting this experience. They were just rocking up and they were still coming back. Obviously, we lost a few clients for it. But I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is not my purpose. This is not the experience I want clients to get. So I really had to sit down. By this stage, I already had 2 kids and I knew I wanted a third. And when I fell pregnant with my third, they're all really close, like 19 months apart. I said to my mum and dad, I can't do this anymore. I want to go back to home. And I knew my team that I had left were amazing, but I was like, I don't want them to feel like they have to come home with me. And I sat them down. I said, guys, the direction's completely changed in my business. Like, I now have 3 babies that need me. I feel like I'm not giving to them. I'm not being able to give the clients the experience they deserve. And I felt like their experience wasn't showing the price they were paying, sort of thing. So I said, I need to change this. I want to build a salon from home. I want it to just be special. I want it to feel calm. I want to be able to give that client that experience that I began with. So I wanted to rebrand. I felt like for me, I needed it to be like a fresh start. So my husband built the most like beautiful space at home. And we opened in October last year and I rebranded it to Elk Collective after my daughter Elkie. And honestly, I was like on cloud 9. I got this like fire in my belly. I got this whole new passion again for hair and I was like loving it. It was amazing. I honestly though hit rock bottom again this year because I was loving it so much again. I had one of my special friends that worked for me, Alicia, that moved up to Queensland. And because she was so amazing, she had a huge clientele and I had to take over her clientele as well as mine. So I was back to doing like 6 days a week and then missing out on so much with my kids again. So I kind of needed to burn out and have that wake up call of, hang on, you've built this salon to have flexibility and a bit more freedom and balance and you're doing the opposite. So I coached with you at the start of the year, but I haven't done it for a few months now. And I actually a month ago sat down and I went back through everything you taught me again and just kind of like, revisited my prices, revisited my break even. And I was like, right, I'm dropping my hours. This is what I can still make. This is what I can do. And this is my purpose. Like my babies need me, my business needs me, but I'm going to spread myself between both. And yeah, it's the best thing I've done. Like this last month, I feel the best I ever have in my position that I'm in.
Wow, Ash, so much.
Yeah.
Like if anyone's listening right now, they're like, whoa. And I think it's so powerful because you did go from having such a big team, you're running all the different hats while having 2 fresh babies.
Yeah.
You and I met before you had the kids, and that was as you were building, and Ashlin decided to do like this road trip with her husband and like try and educate as much as she possibly could, which I think is powerful in itself. Like she was like, I'm all in. I want to know all of the things. I want to be the best I can be. So when she's saying that she felt like she had lost herself in her business and what that actually looked like and why she got into it in the first place, it's because your passion for it in the beginning was so strong. But even to catch yourself and go, hold on, I built this business from home. I think this is really important. Just because you change the location doesn't necessarily mean you're going to change how you feel unless you actually change you.
Absolutely. And I think that's what I needed to revisit again.
Yeah, because you changed location. It felt amazing. It felt so connected. Everything felt so purposeful. But because you are used to that go, 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 go mentality, which we all are, all you ended up doing is taking on more and more and more. And you went, hold on, it wasn't necessarily the location, even though the location was the right idea. It's not the location. I have got to keep getting back to my why, and I've got to make decisions from my why. Because
absolutely,
it's very easy to say, I can make all of the money, and you could work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and make all the money you wanted to make. But how purpose is that when you have 3 children to raise? And the whole idea of bringing it home, I remember talking about it for so long. The whole idea of bringing it home was, you know, you being able to head back over to home, pop some dinner on, you know, hang out with the kids for half an hour after school, and then have that disconnection, be able to go back to the salon as well.
Yeah, which the first month was amazing, and I got to do that so much, and I feel like it gave me a lot of false hope in a way. I was like, oh, this is great. This is what life's going to be like. And then when Leash left, it was so hard. Obviously, I was so happy for her. I pushed her and said, go, you're so young, you need to do it. But on the other end, I was like, oh my God, this is so hard. Now I'm taking on 2 people's work. And it wasn't until like 2 months ago, I broke down to Brett one night and I was like crying. I said, I can't keep doing this. Like, I'm so exhausted. I feel like I'm giving everything to my business. And I feel like I'm drowning, and I can't give to you. I can't give to the kids. I feel like I couldn't give it to my family and my friends. And he said, I thought coming home was going to be easier. And I said, it was at the start, but I've gone back to my old habits. And so it was sitting down and reassessing everything again. And
being okay with saying no as well. I'm okay saying, I can't take care of you and I'm sorry, but you're going to have to go somewhere else.
And it was so funny. Like, my girls at work all said to me last week, Ash, this is our favorite version of you, because for the first time ever, you're actually putting yourself first. And I was like, I walked away and I thought, oh my God, that makes me so proud that they're actually seeing how hard this is for me to actually put myself first for once. And say no to clients. Like, I would literally say no and have a panic attack out in the back room. My heart would be palpitating and I'd be an anxious mess. And now when I say no, I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, I'm so proud of you for putting yourself first.
And not just going, oh, I guess I can do an extra haircut, or I guess I can push that a little bit further.
Yeah.
Your boundaries are strong. And I think that's something that we forget. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Talk me through, so you built to 10, and would you still have photos? I'd love, like, your photos are so great of your old space. It was like a heritage type building, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like oh my God. We renovated it like 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have photos.
And it had all different rooms, and it was a beautiful space. And I think the thing is too, at that point, we keep renovating because we want to give the experience, not realizing the experience comes from us. It doesn't necessarily come from what it looks like. Those things are important, but it doesn't necessarily come from what it looks like or how it presents. It also has to be from how we're giving the experience.
Oh, absolutely. And it was funny when I first said to my mum and dad, like, I think I want to go back from home. It was such a huge thing. I literally cried and cried, and I said to them, I feel like I'm failing though if I do that. And they're like, why? And I said, I feel like people would judge me and be like, oh, why are you going backwards going from home? And mum and dad said, stop thinking about what other people are going to think and think about yourself. And I did. And I was like, you're so true. And do you know what? Like, we have been the busiest that we have ever been since coming from home. And clients, like, the messages I get from clients about like how proud they am of me for doing it and how beautiful the space feels. And like, this time of the year is meant to be quiet, and we're like solid booked for a good 8 weeks. So it just makes me proud that it's not only me that it's actually impacted. It's my team are happier. My clients are happier. Like, it's so nice.
So when I think a perspective for everybody with the new space. It's not just a room in your home. Like you live on property. So Brett builds you an actual proper full-sized salon on your property. So I think that's important too. It's not, Ashlin was still so desired to give the experience. It didn't go home as in, you're in your back room and everybody's on top of each other. He literally built you an entire building on your property that people now come to.
Yeah. We had a shed there and we just thought, let's renovate it. Like we have like a massive shed down the back. So this one was like in our backyard. I thought at least, I can still run inside to see the kids but it's still separate, that they know their boundaries. Sometimes Bowie likes to push them and come out, but they know that that's mum's workspace. And when I'm working, when there's clients there, you can't come out.
Yeah.
But it's nice that it's still separate. It's not like attached to my house.
And
I
how
guess
many
it gives
team
me
members
that
do you have now?
separation as well. So there's 3. I've got 2 that are part-time. They both work 3 days a week. That's all they want. One's a mum and one is Ezra, who I've had for 5.5 years now. And then I've got an apprentice who's full-time. Well, she kind of does like 32 hours, but obviously I still have to pay her for 38. But I said to her when she come, if you're an amazing worker and you work hard while you're here, I am more than happy to still pay you for the full-time hours because I wanted the help and I wanted to grow her a clientele, but I still wanted that balance. I didn't want to be forced to have to do 38
and that's
hours
how many
again
hours
myself.
you're doing?
I've actually just dropped Tuesday now, so I'm kind of 3 days 1 week for the next, so alternating my Saturdays. And I'm only second week in this week, and it just feels so weird, like so nice. Like last Tuesday, I sat down and I revisited all of the stuff from the last program I did with you. And I was like, oh my God, this feels so nice. I feel like in the past when I've done coaching with you, I've still been on the floor working 6 days a week. Yeah. And then you would give me homework to do and I would get it done, but I feel like it was never done properly. Yeah. And in my head, I was like, yep, I've implemented that. And I'd always be telling the girls oh, this is what Samara's helped me with. But I actually wasn't implementing it properly. And now I've revisited it and I'm like, oh my God, I always know you're amazing. I recommend you to everyone. But it wasn't until I've got to sit down again and go through it properly and have the time. I was like, oh my God, this is so powerful. And now that I actually have time.
Yeah, I think what's important is generally, no matter what type of education you do, I'm doing a course at the moment myself, no matter what type of course you do or education you do, you're taking a tiny percentage of what you can actually take in that capacity, right? So when you coach with someone, when you do a class, anything, you think about doing a color class or you take the smallest portion of what you've learned. So going back and relooking at it and going, oh, that feels like that kind of resonates for me. I go back and redo my own coaching over and over again of the stuff that I've learned, because the thing is putting it in and being disciplined and doing it over and over again. And if you get lost, coming back and doing it again, because we know it works. We know it makes us feel amazing when it works. Why you came home. What that looked like. Why you wanted that. You kept making these decisions based off those things. It's just we forget and we get in the rat race of how do I keep coming back to this? Am I rooted in actually what I want for my life? Because I think that people fail to realize that, like we said in the last pod, your business is not your identity. It's, it's what you do. It's not who you are. And we get so wrapped up in it, us being it, that exactly what you said, you thought when it got big, and I did exactly the same. I had 14 at one stage and I assumed when it got big like that, that's what success was. When I have that many people, I'll look successful. People will, you look at it and you go, it was a complete ego thing. and you go,
I know.
I'll look successful. People want to, people will look up to me, and you just go, and then you reassess it and go, why the fuck did I care? Like,
I know,
why
and
did I care?
that was exactly me.
Yeah.
And I was always like, oh, I see other salons with big teams and they look so successful. And it wasn't until I went from 10 to 6 and we were making the same money as what, like a week, with 6 of us as what we were 10. And obviously I was paying 4 less staff. So I was like, oh my God, what was I doing for so long? Like,
I
I'm
remember
actually
doing
more
that with
profitable
you.
now. Yeah. And
I remember the day we did that together.
yeah. And I obviously had like my best friend, Ashley, worked for me before she had her babies and she was my manager. And I was like, how the hell did we have 10? I felt like and now I look back at that too. And she was on the floor full time, but also managing. And I'm like, why the hell did I not take her off the floor? Like, I feel like the business would be so much different if she was off the floor. But at the time, I was like, I need her on. Like, kind of look back now and go, wow, I would have changed so many things.
And I think people forget that people just, I think the scariest thing when it comes to staff is people hire not based on numbers. They hire based on emotion and ego. And it's the worst thing you can possibly do for your business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone leaves, they think, oh, quick, I need to hire again. Someone they think, oh, we've gotten a little bit busy, it's time to hire. And they don't hire based off what their financials can show. And then I see businesses that are so top heavy with wages that I'm like, all of your money is just gone in wages and tax and super.
Yeah, well, I think at one stage that was me when I had 10. I reckon my accountant, and you also said it to me too, I think my wages were like taking up 70% or something of what we were making a week. And so then I was left with like nothing to pay everything else. And then obviously when we lost the 4 and went back to the 6 staff members and I had less overheads with wages and we're making the same amount of money, I was like, oh my God, my percentage went down for like my balance, like wages to everything else. And I thought, wow, this is what it's meant to be like. So it was very eye-opening.
And then you look at your expenses overall and you go, oh, okay, that's my wages now. That's my tax now. That's my stock and everything. Whoa, there's stuff left over every week.
Yeah.
And that is a scary, and we've all been there. You've been there. I've been there. The scariest place to be in business is living week to week.
Yeah. Which I've been there.
So have I. Yep. It's the scariest place you can be, and a place that is the time where you wake up at 2 a.m. and you think that supplier's coming for me for money and I need to pay the next super installment and tax is going to end up in my inbox at any point. And how do I actually get out of this and survive this? And now I'm going to have to work more. I need more clients. Like, I know the head noise, and so do you, that comes with what that life looks like.
Yeah. And I feel like I just started financially getting ahead again. And then obviously we decided for my mental health that we were doing the salon from home. So that obviously sent me back quite a lot. And so I think that's why I went back to old ways of working so much again, because I was like, the more I work, the more I'm going to make. But reality was, yes, I was making more money, but I was making my mental health worse.
Yeah.
And I had no time for anything else. So since like stepping back, I'm happier and I can give more to my clients. I'm actually still kind of nearly making similar money to what I was doing more hours.
Yes. Because the goal isn't more. The goal isn't more. It's to get to a point where your business should feel like joy. It shouldn't feel like constant burden and constant stress. And if it is, what do you need to change?
Yeah. And that was like literally January till March. I was like, and this is only this year, I was at rock bottom. And I said to Brett, I feel like I'm drowning. I can't keep doing this. I'm so physically and mentally exhausted. Like this was meant to be easier and I feel like it's harder. And he was like, it's going to take time. And it like only yesterday I spoke to my accountant on the phone. I was like, I feel like I'm getting nowhere. And he's like, Ash, you are getting somewhere. You're doing amazing. And I just like needed that reassurance because obviously I've stepped back more. And he's like, you had a fantastic financial year last year. You've got to keep reminding yourself that you're actually doing great.
And what you need to remember is when you build a new salon, it's going to take years to pay off.
Yes.
It would have taken at least, I've been in La Sorella, the new one, now for 4 years. So I reckon it's taken at least 2 to 2.5 before the money that I spent on the business, because I paid it in full, before that was back where I needed it to be. Like it's not instant. And I think this is the biggest learning that I can give to people is nothing is changing overnight.
Yeah.
Everything takes time and dedication and consistency and determination. You know, nothing is changing overnight. I always relate it back to weight. If you want to lose weight, nothing's changing overnight. It is small micro habits. It's doing things every day the same that bring you to where you want to be. And I think as creatives, what we do is like when you were saying, you know, you weren't implementing, what we do is go, I want this to feel good now. So I'm going to do this one thing now and that's what I'm going to do. And I can put my hand up and say, I still do it, not with finances, but even with my team. I'll be like, oh, I've created this new bingo spreadsheet. Let's do it this month. I did it last month and we didn't use it once. And the girls are all like, And then I'm like, I'm not teaching consistency in that. So it's like, how do I go back to the drawing board and create consistency in an area that I want to move and change and that I continuously move over and over again? Because it is not about all the small little things that you change every other week to make somebody inspired. It's about the big things that need the consistency and the work and the dedication that goes with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's, like a big wake up call to keep on going back and telling myself that as well.
And I think that's the thing is if anyone is listening to this 150 times back and forth, Ash and I have probably told each other that we're done in business and that we're going to go live in our caravans and we're going to, we're going to move on. But our business pulls us back in because A, we're both extremely passionate about what we do.
Absolutely.
And B, our businesses, even though they are not our identity, are a big part of what we love. But the thing that needs to change constantly and be reminded is you. Every single time that it goes hectic, it's generally like every time that you guys don't love your businesses, it's a reflection of where you are at your life.
Yeah.
Staff have left. Yeah. Finances feel awkward. You're not having any time with your family. These are all you problems. There's all things that you can do in this space to change. We just don't want to admit that it's us.
Yeah, absolutely. But I knew that's the worst thing. I actually knew it was me. But I was just so stuck in where I was at and not looking at like my why and like, you know, why I was doing the salon in the first place. So I literally had to sit down one night and write down like, you know, what the salon means to me and, you know, what my purpose is for me at work and
your
at
why.
home
you
and
have
everything.
To come back to your why.
And then I was like, right, okay, I'm the only one that can change this. No one else.
And it is the biggest question and the most important question that you can keep asking yourself in your business is why? Why do I get out of bed in the mornings? Why do I run this business? Why, like, what's my purpose in it? You know, because at the end of the day, our businesses do give us the life that we want to live with our kids. And they do fill this like beautiful part in us that like needs it as well. And we're creatives and we love it. Like there's all of these things that all we do when we're sitting in a fear-based space of I'm exhausted, the finances are hard, team are hard, is all we end up doing is going, no, we're just out. Out is going to be easier. Jump out, done, sell it, move on, burn it down, whatever it is. But if we reflect, it's generally all the internal stuff that's going wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've wanted to burn it down and run away in our caravan so many times, but I'm like, no, you can't, because I wouldn't be me without my salon and without my team, and like that is my purpose. So I'm like, don't be ridiculous. You're not running away. Like you're changing what you need to.
Take us through the transition of like salon space to home. And as I said, it's not a normal home space. It's a proper salon. But take us through the transition. So we were talking, obviously, when you were first kind of thinking about it. Take us through kind of the transition. How long did it take? You know, how much did you have to spend? Like, where were you at? You know, how did you go with transitioning your clients, your team? How did all that go?
So we started it in March, and because Brett and I Brett, I should say, I helped as much as I could. But Brett did a lot of it himself. So obviously it really only gave us weekends to do it. I was like in my head, we're going to get it done in 12 weeks. Like I was seriously dreaming. I had no idea what
I think I remember you saying that. You were like, 12 weeks, we'll be done. We'll be in. And I was like, amazing.
Yeah, I think I was dreaming. And every month I was like, oh yeah, next month. And then Brett said to me one day, like, Ash, this is like, you're pretty much building a house. Like, this is going to take 6 months. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So it ended up pretty much being 6 months. We moved in at the start of October. The last week was honestly, the last 2 weeks was like touch and go. We ended up having to be out so much quicker out of the old space because of the council. Like they changed the zoning. It was zoned commercial residential when my parents first brought it. And when they went to sell it, because they were selling the building, the council, like it literally was meant to settle on like the Friday, and the Thursday afternoon they got a call from the solicitor saying, oh, the zoning was changed like 2 years ago to residential. And I was like, what the hell? I've paid commercial rates for 2 years, which the council won't refund me. But anyway, so it was a shit show. The council then said to mum and dad, like, okay, well, you've got to kick your tenants out because they're commercial and they're not allowed to be in there. Like, mind you, this is like 2 years that they changed it. And we only knew because it was meant to settle the next day as a commercial building. So obviously that sale then fell through, but I still had to be out. Yeah, it was so shit. I felt horrible.
So then they had to sell it as a residential building,
again,
not a commercial.
Yeah, but the council tried to tell them they had to put, because I knocked down all the walls in the end. So it was like one big open space. It was stunning. But the council tried to then say we had to put all the walls back up, a bathroom in and a laundry. And we were like, what the fuck? Like, you can't just rezone something and not tell us. And we find out like literally 24 hours before it's meant to settle. So it literally only settled in May this year, and someone else brought it from October last year. Oh, sorry, it was meant to settle June last year. And I was going to rent it back off those people until October when the salon was done. And so it went 11 months. They had to like fighting with council and then getting to the agreement that they just had to put a bathroom in and a laundry trough and the walls didn't have to go back up. But yeah, just settled in May. And so
so it's definitely residential now?
It's residential. Someone's living in my old salon.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was a shit show, and I just felt so guilty because I was like, if I didn't knock down the walls, they would have been able to turn around straight away and sell it residential.
Yeah, but you weren't to know that. Wow.
I know. And like mum and dad obviously let me do it as well. So in the end, it's sold finally, like, you know, one bit of weight off their shoulders. So yeah, we started the new salon in March and finished it in October. And like in the end, yeah, it was a bit of a rush. And I just closed the salon on, like, we're closed Thursday. So I closed that Friday and the following Monday, and the girls just helped move everything. Oh, actually, no, our first day open was the Monday. So we literally had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to have that old salon emptied and cleaned out, and then the new one set up, which my family were so amazing. They obviously, my sisters were like stocking my product shelves and putting tint tubes away and cleaning. My best friend come around and was cleaning the night before until like midnight with me.
Anyone that thinks this is going to be like a luxury, like move over, get everything sorted, exactly the same. We finished La Sorella 1.0 on the Friday afternoon. I think I gave the girls a couple of hours off for them to like pull everything down. And we opened at La Sorella 2.0 on the Tuesday.
Yeah. So we were like Friday till we opened Monday. And it was amazing. Like the first few weeks was just, I feel like now we're still all just loving it, but we were just on cloud nine. Like clients were walking in and they were like, wow, this is beautiful. Like I was expecting something like where I first started from home, which was, 10 years before in this tiny little space. And so I feel like it was so powerful for me to be like, wow, this is my purpose. Like I'm back to giving the clients that experience and that beautiful, like I had a stunning space, but I created this. I thought about my clients and what, would make their experience better when I was building this. So, but also my staff, like I wanted them to feel like they're at home and, that I wanted them to feel like it was as part of theirs as it is mine.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been really nice watching the girls. I feel like since when I come from home, I said to the girls, I'm doing this for me and my family, but I'm also doing this for you. I want you to all sit down and tell me like what hours you want to work, what days you want to work. And I said, nothing is off limit. Like all I want is a happy team. I want everyone to feel like they've got balance. So I guess that's why it's been so amazing as well, is that they're all happy. They're all working like, I've got Meg who has 2 little boys and she works 3 days, 9 till 3. She comes, does her job, goes home. She's kind of like, she's actually the best thing I've ever done. She's kind of part-time receptionist, runs the show, rebooks clients, messages, does all my Instagram and everything. But then she's also a qualified hairdresser. So she's on the floor, does toters and blow waves or foils or, if someone rings up last minute, we can normally get them in with her because she's never fully booked on purpose. And then Ezra just does 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's all she wants. And Ashley may be coming back. She's just had her second baby and she's like, was renting a chair for herself over in Moama, which is like half an hour away. But she is the same. Like she just knows that she'll have the balance. She can come and do the hours she wants. The clients will be booked for her. It'll be like easy for her to like walk in and do her clients and walk out. And she's amazing. Like she's like, oh, I love it. It's like having 2 of me, but she thinks differently to me. It's actually funny. I did a psychic reading last week. And it was so funny. She said to me, oh, I can see Ashley coming back. And I was like, oh, really? And she said, yeah, Ashley's amazing for your business. And she's like another brain for your business. She comes up with great ideas and really like balances you out a lot. I'm like, yes, she does. And she said, sometimes though, she thinks of things and she wants to like implement it or do it. But she said, you're so like stuck in your ways that she like bites her tongue and she just wants to say, oh, shut up, Ashlin, and just let me do my thing. And when I told Ash, she laughed and she's like, yeah, she laughed and said, if I come back, I want to come back in like that kind of manager's position because I know that I've got so much potential for your business. Yep. And so it like felt so good for me to have that conversation with her and be like, girl, you can come back in and you can bloody take more pressure off me and run this show.
Yep.
So I'm really hoping that we can make it work and she can come back as well, because it will be great to like both balance each other out again.
And that's the thing, is not everybody, like I think we get in our head that everybody wants to own their own business. Not everybody wants to own their own business, you know? And I think when you do it, you go, oh, I didn't realize how much behind the scenes this person's doing, how much pressure, you know, my team walk in, do their job, walk out. They don't see it's quiet this week, so we've got to make sure that we're doing that. We've got to make sure this is in. I've got to make sure that's covered. I've got to make it's end of year. I've got to make sure, you know, the amount of noise that happens in the background is so extreme that we get to the point as owners and go, I don't know if we can handle this anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think like, and I agree, I think as a business owner, you have so much more appreciation for other business owners because you're like, I feel you, I know what you deal with. But like, it's funny you say that because Meg used to actually work for herself from home. And she's like, I will never go back to working for myself. Like she goes, I can come, I'm working my hours. Like I feel like you go and work for yourself to get that freedom and to get more money. Like that's why we all do it, right? And then I think for Meg, she was like, this is shit. I'm working like 12-hour days. I have to make sure my appointments are filled. Like, you know, you've got to do everything. Whereas you come to someone else and it doesn't matter if you've got no one booked in, you get paid. Like that's on the business owner. That's not on you. So I think like Ash was saying to me, I don't know how you run a business with 3 kids. And I'll never forget it. She's like, I appreciate you so much more now and she's always appreciated me. But when she had her first baby, she said, I appreciate you so much more because I never knew how hard it was to have one child and run her own business when she was renting a chair. So she ended up coming back when she fell pregnant with her second because she's like, it's easy. I don't have to build a clientele. I don't have to worry whether I'm busy or not. I'm coming to work, I'm getting paid, and I've got that stable income. So I think as long as you as a business owner are looking after your staff, like I think they then go, I don't want to work for myself. This is good.
I obviously work alongside so many solo artists and I know how much it costs for them to open their doors to make I've got a artist that I've worked with and she needs to make at like $4,500 a week just to be able to pay herself $70,000 a year.
Oh,
you know, and yes, you know, potentially working for somebody that is less, but the pressure that it puts on her to do that and to run a salon and to run all the stock and to make all the appointments and to make sure she's making that much money a week is so extreme that there's so many people that also just don't want to juggle that head noise and want to live that life. They want more of the balance of personal life.
Yeah. And I used to try and do everything myself because I felt like I'm the business owner. This is all my responsibility. But these last like 6 months, I've actually learned to delegate. And I'm like, I can't be everyone for everything. So now that like I've hired Meg and Meg's doing all my Instagram messages, like greeting clients, setting them up, checking them out, maintaining the towers, keeping stock levels at bay, I feel like my life is easier. And for the first time ever, I can actually give so much more to my clients because I'm not like my brain is like ADHD on steroids. When I'm trying to do it all, I'm like trying to talk to my client. I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to do an order. I've got to call that client. I've got to do this and that. And now I can just go, hey, Meg, can you do this? And it's done. And I can give 100% to my clients now. And it feels so good, like so good. So I know like, and also I think it's so good for the staff members to actually have like a little bit of a role or responsibility other than just doing hair as well. Like it makes them feel more important too and more valued, that you trust them to do something within your business. So I guess that's probably been the most powerful thing I've done in my business is delegate. And that was you actually said to me, Ash, you've got to delegate. You're one person. You can't do everything, and stop trying to do everything.
And I think the important part of this is to reframe back to what we were talking about before is this is my staff meeting tomorrow is on delegating, because if you don't continue to reassess and to look all over your business, you'll realize slowly over time that you consume it and you kind of take it all back. And literally yesterday I was like, what am I doing? I've got this phenomenal team that can help me in so many areas. Why am I not redelegating again? Because I feel like I've got to hold it all, but I don't, because we've got these great teams that can help.
Yeah. We just feel guilty, like, oh no, this is our salon, so we have to do it. But the girls could tell I was struggling, and they all said to me, Ash, stop trying to do it yourself. Like, give us jobs. We will do it. And I thought, you know what? They actually want the responsibility. Like, what am I doing trying to be everything?
So good.
Yeah. So
what is one of the biggest financial lessons you've learnt?
That tax is always going to be there. And this is your saying, you can't rob Peter to pay Paul, because I would put my money in my tax account and then I'd be like, oh, cool, that looks like a cool education, or, oh, that bill's due. And I would take the money straight out and I'd put it, like, pay for something. And then my tax bill comes and I'm like, oh my God, I have no money in my tax account. So I'd be like an anxious mess for a week and have to set up a payment plan again. And I've like set up direct debits for everything now. Like I've got, instead of, this is ADHD as well. I'm so compulsive. Like if I want something, I'll just buy it and I don't think about consequences. So I was like, right, if the money isn't there, I can't spend it. So I literally have like direct debit set up. It goes straight to the ATO every week now. So then when I get my bill, it's already like prepaid, or like I would have a very small amount left going. So I'm like, oh my God, I don't feel like I'm dying now getting like, instead of a 15 grand bass, it might be like 3 grand. Like, so
Ash,
yeah, I just,
so good.
and even like annual leave, I've now set up an account that money that I was paying for rent is now going into an annual leave account. Because in my head, I was like, well, I haven't had that money for years. Like it's gone to rent. So now it's going into an annual leave account. And I just went on 4 weeks holidays and I could pay myself 4 weeks annual leave and not have to be, I wasn't like away going, oh my God, the team's not going to make as much money. And what happens if they have all these cancellations? Like they were full when I went away, and they had 1 week of like every single client was sick and nearly had to reschedule. And I was like on holidays and thought, you know what? Who cares? I've planned for this. I've got money in my annual leave account. Whereas normally I would, like last year when I went on holidays, I was like, fuck, like I'm not going to be able to pay myself this week, and transferring my wage back to be able to pay for other things because the girls were quiet or whatever. So I think that's probably been the biggest financial lesson is like I've in my break even now weekly, it's got everything direct debited out, like down to I pay like weekly for my water bill, my electricity, my phone bill, like everything to do with my business is paid weekly. My super, everything now, so that I'm not like, you know, at the end of the quarter, oh, cool, I've got a massive lump of super due, or so that's probably been my most valuable.
I'm so proud of you, because that weekly, putting away weekly has been, even for me, and I've been doing this work for so long, is such a game changer. And for you to say, I know that I can't keep it, you know, I talk all the time about a holding account, but you're like, I know I can't see it. Like I actually need the money to be gone. Otherwise I will spend it because I will see it as money that can be spent. And I think, you know, even the other day, I think we really forget, and as business owners and like, you know, young women getting into business and stuff like that, we really forget that we are living in a debt-based society where everyone's like, get credit cards and go on payment plans and, afterpay and zip pay, and nobody has to save to buy anymore. And it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
It's so dangerous with business because we have debt that's coming, and then, you can buy all your stock and don't have to pay that for, 30 days. When there comes a point where suppliers are done with that and they end up going, no, you have to pay as you go, I think we'll actually bring business owners back into a little bit more alignment, because people are placing like $5,000 orders and then going, oh my gosh, I don't know how to pay for it. Like, they're not thinking, oh, I'll actually just put that aside now. Everything is in the future. So they go spend $5,000 on a supplier's bill, and then they're like, the following week, they're like, oh, I've had a great week. And by the time the supplier bill comes in, everyone's like, I don't know how to afford it. What do I do?
Well, I've even set up, I've got to set that up now. I've just swapped over yesterday from a sole trader to a company. So I've obviously got to set up all new bank accounts, and I had rang Osdare and worked out what I'd spent with them for the financial year so that I can set up a direct debit to them weekly. So that same thing, because that was happening to me. I would do like an order and then it sits on your account for 30 days. And then I'm like, shit, I've got to pay for that as well. Whereas if that's done weekly as well, it's just one less stress I'm going to have. And it's actually it made me feel so good, because I'm getting so many bills now and I'm actually in credit. Like, I've got a couple of $100 credit sitting there. I mean, I can't wait till the day that that can be my tax bill and I can be like, I'm in credit with the ATO. But it's so nice when you're seeing credit. You're like, wow. Because, one day I might decide to go in the caravan with my family for 10 or 12 weeks. And then all that credit is built up with everything.
And people that are in debt, and you've been in debt before, we've done this together. I've been in debt. People that are in debt, and when they're in debt, they're like, how can I possibly get out of this? And I would say you just have to be super stretchy, and you have to be uncomfortable, and you have to just knuckle down, because the most important thing, like you have done now, is you're like, oh, I still have this tax bill, but I have to put all the future stuff away because it's coming for me no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. No, it's they're probably
because
that's
then
probably
the same thing
biggest financial
when
thing that I've done, and now that I'm like, every business owner needs to do it. Like we've always done it personally for like all of our bills at home.
Always have.
So yeah. So I was like, why am I not doing this for the business as well?
I think that then any money that sits in your business, is your profit. And we've just finished out, guys, like we're July 2nd when we're recording this. So we have just finished out end of financial year. And for me, I was like, I want everything paid within an inch of its life. So I currently don't owe a single bill on anything because I wanted it all paid in the financial year. And when I look at my account, I'm like, that's just the money that's in the account. Nothing has to be paid. Everything is already paid. And
that is my goal
the most
for next financial
amazing
year,
feeling in the world.
Yeah.
And again, weeks like we've had a quiet week this week. And even though I still get anxious because I'm like, I've been in business 16 years, I can promise you that on a quiet week, I still feel like the sky is falling. I haven't learned not to do that yet. But at the end of the day, if we didn't make $1, we'd still be okay because there's a buffer in that amount and that account that would get us through. And that's what financial freedom looks like. Like that's what peace in your business looks like, is I can pay myself a wage. I can pay my staff well. I can, do the things I want to do. I reckon I've spent 20 grand in the past week. I bought new trolleys and I bought a new smoothing range, and I paid all my suppliers out completely. I would have spent at least 20. And knowing that you can do that and it's okay to have a quiet week, or knowing that there's money sitting there and knowing that there's money in different pots, I think is really important. Just don't put all your money in one pot. Put it in different places so that it's all not just sitting in one account. And then you get to see these like great little amounts in all different accounts, and you know how you're tracking.
Yeah. And that's why I'm like doing my super weekly and paying tax weekly and everything. So I don't have I've got an annual leave account sitting there, and I do have a savings account for work as well. So if I do have a really good week, I'll be like, oh, I'll just put a bit across to that. So at least, you know, if education does pop up, I have money sitting there, or like, you know, building it for like the Christmas party and things like that. I'm making sure like that's like a buffer on my normal account. And I just forget that account and my annual leave account are actually there. And I just focus on the one account because they're all direct debited out. I'm not having to transfer the money across and knowing how much is in there. So it's been nice. Like I've got for July, I've got Ezra's away all of next week, and then she's doing some training in Sydney, and then Meg's away for like 3 weeks. And I don't even have to stress that they're not there. Like I literally have money sitting in my annual leave account ready to pay them.
Yeah.
So it's so nice.
And then
it's
everything
so nice.
else feels like calm. When your finances are handled, when your finances are good, when you feel on top of it, everything else feels okay. Personally, professionally, relationship-wise, money, if it is controlling you financially and it is feeling sticky, is the worst thing that can happen to our businesses.
Yeah.
But not only our businesses, our life. I've watched times I've done it, but I've watched times where you've gone through it and just everything else feels awful. Being a mum is hard, being a partner is hard, being a friend is hard, because money is this like poison that's sitting in your life because everything feels like it's on top of you.
Yeah, it's so true. Like it completely consumes you. And I used to come inside when I was really struggling financially, and I'd be like to Brett, I can't do this. And I feel like I was never like horrible, but in my head, I felt like I was just a horrible person. Like I was just negative to be around, and he always just knows where to bring me back. And he actually said to me the other day, I want to take over your books because then I know, like he wouldn't do it completely, but I would still do it. But then he knows where like I'm at and where he can like help and go, oh, why don't we look at like, you know, he just wants to be the second eyes on it. And I'm like, it's so good. We sat down together the other day and there's things that he picked up and I'm like, oh, I've never even thought of that. I've never noticed it. So, and he said, I think sometimes like it like consumes you so much of like, you know, I do an order and I'm like, oh my God, I just spent $4,000 with Ozda. And he's like, Ash, it's not due for 4 weeks. Like, and he'll like sit there and project what I'm going to make for the next month. And he's like, this is what you're going to make for the next month. And this is what you've got to pay. Like, you're going to be fine. And I'm like, oh, whereas I would sit there myself and do it. And I'd be like, you know, oh my God, I'm drowning.
I remember
I can't
that
do
with
this.
you when you used to be like,
So
oh, I've got an
nice.
Ozda bill. I'm like, babe, you're going to have supplies bills come in for you for the rest of your life. Otherwise you can't do hair.
Yeah.
And I think
absolutely.
too, like, I think everyone needs to remember that if it's not their specialty to find somebody, it is, you know, like, I think we should do it and know it and have it all together because we're business owners, but I couldn't do a perm to save my life. If I had to do a perm, pretty much I'm going in the ground. But my friend Bridget, who listens to this podcast religiously, we always talk about, if she would, if perms came back in, babe, she's making millions. She can roll a perm like a magician. Me, on the other hand, no, never. So I think we've got to see. We've got to remember, just like in business, just like in hair, we're great at some things, not so good at the others. It's the same in business. So if finances is not your thing, find the person, do the course, learn off the people. Because my partner's the same way. He is hopeless when it comes to his finances. And he had a business. He works for someone now. But he kind of was like, okay, teach me. Tell me what to do. Teach me, guide me. And he's thriving because he's like, right, teach me. And now he's making these amazing decisions himself. But it's like there are going to be people that are better at it. So find those people and get those people to help and get those people to teach. Just like you were saying with Brett, like there is going to be people that can see eyes on your business differently, and they'll be able to help give you support as well.
Yeah. And I actually, like, when I last did coaching with you, you were like, lean into your accountant so much more. And I actually have. So I've really taken the time to like really deep dive in and get to know my numbers. And I think that's so powerful as well, is like knowing every cent that comes in and out. And yeah, like getting to know that with my accountant as well. So he can also reassure me as well. I'm not, you know, like he obviously sees everything. So it's kind of been nice to have him and now Brett to like be helping me get ahead further again.
And I would say to anybody, you think spending feels good? Wait until you've got savings. Like you think that spending feels good, and it does. Wait until you have savings, because when you see that money in your account, you just don't want to spend it. You know, you just want to keep building it. And you don't know what you're building it for personally and business wise, but I talk all the time about financial freedom. It's financial security.
That's so true. Yeah.
It's just like making you feel secure.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel better when you look at your bank account and there's more money rather than like spending and it's like going lower and lower. Yeah. Like you're like, oh, that's my purpose. I'm working hard for something.
But in the early days, I know I spent like an absolute mofo in the early days, and that's where I got to being broke and then building it back and then teaching from Salon Rising. So it has a purpose. But, you know, I think if anyone is listening to this and they haven't, their finances still feel sticky and yuck, it doesn't have to feel that way.
No. And I remember like that's when I first come to you, I was at a really bad stage. And I think you just think, oh, this is normal. Like this is what every other business is going through. And I mean, a lot of businesses, like I have a lot of business owner clients and they're all like, I'm struggling. I'm at rock bottom. Like I actually seen a post on that hair squad by Jess Lewis page the other day. And someone was saying, we're so quiet. I don't know what to do. I think I'm going to have to close down. And there was like 70 comments on it of all these businesses saying, we're the same. I've tried everything. I think we're going to have to close. And that's when I was like, I was really grateful that I was obviously busy, but it also made you kind of appreciate how hard you've worked, like say doing your course and stuff and preparing yourself, because reality is there's always going to be quiet patches. But if you're not prepared, then you're going to set yourself backwards again.
It's how prepared are you for exactly what you said? Annual leave, sick leave, quiet patches, Christmas off. How prepared are you at these times? Because it's all good and well to be like, you know, I'm killing it. It's Christmas time, but then people take 2 weeks off and then they come into the new year and they're at struggle street again. It's how do you set yourself up financially securely now, so that those patches don't matter.
And that's, I guess I'm working really hard on that at the moment now, because I want to have the whole of January off. So I'm like, I've got 2 kids that will be starting kinder. Bowie, like he started school this year. So I'm like, I just want to spend that whole month like being a mum and like fulfilling my purpose in that. And because December's always mental, absolutely mental. And I'm exhausted. We always take 2 weeks off, and I've said to myself, no, January is always weird. Like it can be fully booked and then you have all these people that can't afford it and reschedule. And I'm like, I'm taking the whole month off. So right now I'm like, how can I be prepared for that? How can I make sure that I've got like money there for my annual leave, money there for any bills that need to come in? So yeah, I'm planning now for 6 months' time so that I hopefully am like in the most like financial free like time of my business.
Future planning, it's everything. Yes. And I think again, people forget that. If you want to go on a 7-week trip to Europe, cool, bro, but how set up are you to go? Because I think holidays are so important, but like how are you setting yourself up to do that? And if it's in 12 months time or 6 months time, just like you've said, in 6 months time, I'm taking a month off. How are you setting yourself up for that so that you don't struggle then? Because people are like, I'm just going to take time off and then don't think about it. And then they come back and they're absolutely screwed.
And a few years ago, that would be me. And I would say to myself, oh, it's fine. You could just work more hours and make up. Like I would work more in December and I'd work more in Feb. And I'd say like to myself, oh, it will balance out. But I'm like, no, because I don't want to have to work more before and after to make up for it. I want to be able to have that time off and be like, this feels so good because I planned for it.
So good. And you have something to look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Ash, so many people have
taken
so many golden nuggets from this conversation. And I would highly recommend anybody that is in this transition stage or isn't loving their business or it's, felt like how you're feeling to get in touch, because Ash is like the kindest, most loving person and she loves conversations about everything industry. So she would be perfect if you needed to reach out and be like, okay, how did you do it? Because I'm exhausted, because I see a lot of people wanting to go different methods. But I think the important thing is here is going home. Is it going to make your problems go away?
I've had heaps of salons reach out and ask questions like that already. And it makes me feel better about my decision of doing it too, because I'm like, okay, it's not only me that wanted to do it. Other people are in my same position. And it's not to say, like I've always said, I might in 5 years' time when my kids are all in school and I might decide, okay, I want to open up a shop in town again. That might feel right.
If you're sitting on the fence right now,
we
had a girl come up to Jen at Expo actually that we did a course with in Melbourne who was so upset and so overwhelmed and was like, I'm going to sell my business. And we were like, you need to do, like, you have to support yourself. You don't think about the ego. Don't think about what other people think. Just do what you need to do. And she did it. And she's like, I've never been happier. She's like, I'm so happy. And I think what we need to get out of our heads, this industry is such a visual industry. Can feel so ego based because we're so on social media and everybody's watching and our clients are watching and, other hairdressers are watching and business owners and people in this industry, that we feel almost frozen in fear by what we want to do because of what people will think. It's your life. You've got one precious life. Choose what's most important for you, and who cares what anyone else thinks, because no matter what you do, people are still thinking things.
And it's so funny because that was me. I would look and I would say, yep, I'm going to do it. And then I'd sit there on Instagram till 2:00 in the morning looking at all these like big successful salons. And then I would spiral and be questioning and doubting my own decision. And now I'm actually so proud of myself. I went through and I muted every single business that makes me feel like overwhelmed, or it doesn't mean I don't want to ever see them be successful. It wasn't doing my own mental health good.
I say this all the time. I'm like, and you don't have to unfollow if that feels wrong for you. Just mute, simply mute. Because at the end of the day, anything that's causing you to question who you are because you're feeling not good enough, and it doesn't have to be a reflection on them. It's not a reflection on them. You're doing amazing, but my mental health is not good right now. So just mute everything that doesn't feel like it is good for your mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing more than I love seeing other businesses survive, thrive and, do amazing things and bring in new products or services or whatever. I love it. I'm like, that's so amazing. But I'm so in my own lane. And I got out of my head of comparing myself to others. And since being in my own lane and not comparing, it's been the best thing ever for my business. My business is more successful now than what it was, because I was always like,
how do I get there?
I was going to do that. And now,
I look after so many businesses that I know what those businesses are feeling. And we think that they are living their best life and everything's amazing. They're just as stressed and just as out and just as tired.
And I know, but I think you put yourself down I should be doing that. I should be doing better. So by muting them, now I don't even look. I literally I haven't posted on my own business for 4 weeks, and there's just been a lot going on, but I'm getting back into that now. But I'm not even worried.
Mm.
I'm not looking at that going, oh, everyone else is posting, or everyone, like, it's the first time ever I'm actually just focusing on my own, like my own team and my own space. It's
Love. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. This has been
Yeah.
such a good
No, thank you.
pod.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure Jen's going to love listening back to it. She gets to enjoy this today. Thank you for everyone to listening, just hearing mine and Ash's voice. But really, truly, I think the important thing is you can feel secure and excited and on top of finances and life, no matter what size your business, where you're working from, it's just get back to your why, really know why you're doing this business and make choices from that space.
Yeah.
And always get on top of your finances.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Ash. You're
Definitely.
being an
Thanks
absolute
so
babe.
much.
Thank you for coming on and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.